Happy Thursday, everybody. I wanted to pop in here and talk about your brain and food and utilizing mindfulness after bariatric surgery. I was trying to think of like the best topic to talk about today, and I knew I wanted to pop in and do a live stream. And many of you know, it's actually 2 weeks today since I lost my dad. And that was a bit shocking. I mean, we knew he was sick. I might have said this in another video. But 2 weeks ago, I pretty much spent the whole week in the hospital until Thursday. And then we went home because he had passed Thursday. But the reason I'm talking about this is because essentially everybody endures some kind of crisis, no matter what it could be in your life. And that is a time that I know for a lot of my clients that the eating bug can appear. And that's a time when people can get really wacky about their eating and what they're eating, when they're eating. And as we know, grazing is a no-no. However, there are times when you're going through a crisis that you're not on your normal routine. You're not drinking the water that you need to be. You may or may not have access to the protein that you need on a daily basis. And so I thought, well, maybe this is a time that I should talk about what I did and how I've kind of gotten through the last couple weeks, and then also talk about some things that actually have popped up for my clients, because what's really interesting is that I have had in the past couple weeks 2 clients who have gone through a loss as well. And one of my clients mentioned that she's not hungry at all and that she has a hard time eating because she just feels like a very low mood and she has to force herself to eat. And then I have another client that has shared that she's really struggled with pushing the food away. And so it's important, that's what I wanted to pop in and talk about today, is it's important to see where you are when crisis hits, because people respond differently to crisis, to situations that happen in your family or personally. And so depending on how you are with food, you could go in either one of those directions. Either you're grazing, you're eating a lot more, or vice versa. You just don't feel like eating, you're not hungry, and you're having to force yourself to eat, or you notice, oh, I haven't eaten in a very long time. So what is important is self-care during this time, because although you may be caring for someone else or thinking of someone else or going through, from a biological standpoint, our adrenal glands are going high speed when you're experiencing a crisis. And so that is something that can cause you to not feel hungry at times. But also it's something that you're running on a fight-flight system. When you're in crisis mode. However, there are other people that need to eat in order to feel safe. And so it's important to recognize, again, which camp you're in. And then, okay, Kristen, so what do I do once I know where I am? Either I'm not eating or I'm eating too much. What do I do then? So my first recommendation is be mindful of where you are. And you might say, well, I'm in crisis. I'm not even mindful of where I am because my focus is on this situation. Yes, I get that. But it is important that you continue to take care of yourself no matter what is going on around you. And what I know about patients, and I'm calling us patients, but people who have had bariatric surgery, we tend to put other people above and before ourselves. And so that is something that is a consistent effort to work on, is that you are important. You are so important to yourself and to your family and to your loved ones. And so you being and staying healthy is a priority. So no matter what's going on around you, you are important. So let me say that first and foremost, you are important. Secondly, you checking in for a minute. Have I eaten today? What have I eaten? Is it healthy? Is it nutritious? Is it on my plan? Have I had enough water today? Am I drinking water? And I'll be the first to tell you that when I was in the hospital, I had access to obviously water, but I was drinking a lot more coffee than I was water. And as you know, coffee dehydrates you. So when I became aware of this, I think it was like on day 2, I made sure that I brought my water mug with me and that I drank my water. But again, I'm the first one to say that it took me about 24, 36 hours before I realized, I'm not getting my water in. And the other thing was, of course, hospital food, not very healthy. So I made sure that I accessed chicken, and they did have chicken sandwiches, and I would just eat the chicken without the bun. So there are a lot of ways that you can make sure that you get in your protein and your water for the day. And then when you're going through a situation that's high crisis, or it is where your priority or your focus is on someone else, it's important that ahead of time, so that's why I'm telling you this now, because you're not necessarily going through a crisis right now. But what I'm telling you now is prep. Have your crisis prep plan for yourself. Put it in your wallet, put it in your purse, so that you know what you need to do for you. And you might even ask, like, what is a crisis prep plan? But there are things that you already know every single day, like how much water you're supposed to have, how much protein you're supposed to have. But it could be that your crisis prep plan is a little mini notebook that's empty, because when you're in the hospital, or when you're in the nursing home, or when you're at your cousin's house, or when you're out of town, or wherever you are, that you're able to log, am I drinking my water? And you could probably do this through your phone. Am I eating my protein? Am I walking the halls? I mean, I'll tell you, I have my Fitbit, and I walked in the hospital, and I walked and walked and walked and made sure that I got in my steps. I got in my movement. So these are things that, even though you can be overwhelmed with emotions, you can still take care of yourself. And that's what's, again, taking care of your family is of primary importance, but also taking care of yourself, because you're no good to anybody else. You're no good to anybody else unless you take care of you. And there's this saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you taking care of you is so important. So going back to my initial steps, being mindful of when you get into a crisis situation. Have I eaten too much? Am I not eating enough? Am I drinking my water? Am I moving? Am I making sure I get my steps in? And I know it's more than steps, but let me tell you, I wasn't going to the gym the week that my dad was in the hospital. I did get, trying to get away from the sunlight, I did get in probably 12,000 steps a day, but I definitely was not pumping iron. So it is, again, important that you do you, and that you be flexible for you, that you don't overdo it. And I know myself very well, so I was able to practice the mindfulness and know what I needed to do and what I needed to adjust for myself. And again, that was, I was drinking a lot of coffee. And so I had to make up for it with my water intake and making sure that I got the protein in. And we were right by a Chick-fil-A, and if I see another Chick-fil-A, But I was primarily getting the breast or the nuggets, or no bun. So basically just the chicken. And that was something that I did a lot, so that I could keep that protein up, and so that I wasn't losing out on that. So I wanted to share that with you. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. But I think it is important, because we never know when something like this will happen, and it's important that you track where you are, that you have access to, okay, how am I going to get, obviously water is everywhere, and you can get protein anywhere, whether you do shakes or chicken breast or however you get protein in, but that you know, oh, I'm eating too much or I'm not eating enough, and be mindful of that, because I've seen and heard of clients who have gained weight when in a crisis situation, or some that have lost and not in a healthy way. So I wanted to share that and talk to you guys about that today, and just to give you guys those tips of making sure that you kind of work on a crisis plan in advance so that you know what you're going to do and how you're going to actively be mindful in those situations. So I hope that this has helped you today. And I will pop in again tomorrow and offer some more tips and tidbits. And I will also be starting a video series that I'm going to be posting on YouTube, which I'm excited about sharing, as I'm just getting back into the groove, because as you know, with something, whenever you're experiencing loss, you've got to take some time off to rejuvenate and to reconnect and to refresh and all of that. So I will be sharing that soon. I hope you guys are doing great. And again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I hope that you're all having an awesome day. Thanks. Bye.